Yatta.
Yo, Gucci.
Strap to the bone, chat to me chrome. Fire one in a them head, shot to the dome. Them boy they no bad, chatter when me know. Only bad when the man friend pop pill alone. Tall rifle a roll under me clothes. One west a run road that a fi be known. Browning bad bitch, not silicone. Rich badness, fat belly full. Them boy they no ready for the gun life. Give them a pitchfork and a grung knife. Press the chip clock on the front line. If the road dark, he become bright. Me dog them a killer when a sunlight. We was a transform when it turn night. Chris Kalish cuff we black and white. With the red light on the front eye. Toppy show, tap about things where you nothing do. Toppy show, Kel taking a me and that a no fi show. Rifle bind them big like puppy toe. A tall rifle a mat we be go fi four. Toppy show, Batty boy stop chat where the fuck you know. Thing them ram up in a skin them. Time you get lead poison and infection. Make your dopey rise quicker than inflation. And the high cost a living in bed from the inception. That's how the thing been tan. Start off slow, now the thing get strong. A one west and it never take long. Now we a do the road mad injection. Toppy show, tap about things where you know fi know. Toppy show, Kel taking a me and that a no fi show. Rifle bind them big like puppy toe. A tall rifle a mat we go fi four. Toppy show, Batty boy stop chat where the fuck you know. Them boy they no ready for the gun life. Give them a pitchfork and a grung knife. Press the chip clock on the front line. If the road dark he become bright. Me dog them a killer when a sunlight. We was a transform when it turn night. Chris Kalish cuff we black and white. Make the rain fall and the ground dry. Warning. Say this from me heart on a rum chat. Here we contact, get your gun shot. Make the sun dark and the ground black. We plant calm but I never agriculture. I know the eagle in the tongue. The eagle when young people that are the vulture. Said them evil never the vulture. They coulda run pan diesel that a fi punja. Away the blood clot. Do some gun back. Away the blood clot. Do some gun back. Easy we coulda squeegee inna the Honda. Sleepy gunshot beat him inna him slumber. Greedy fi make them dopey a the younger. Glad say me nah pre when me the younger. That no mean say no pussy can try. Pussy try run up and give with them life. Can't see penalty give with 3 points. This one west boy you must see one die. Away the blood clot. Do some gun back. Away the blood clot. Do some gun back. Don't start war with we. You will see, you'll see. My dog them are real. Better agree. Don't start war with we. You will see, you'll see. My dog them are real. Better agree.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West.
Hey, Shalom, Yahweh, Hashem, Shabbrakatam, to all the brothers, Yahweh, Shemar, Lathan, Hashem, Yahweh, to all the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer 500 Barak Yala with the I.S.U.P.K, which stands for the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. You understand, just like every Thursday evening, we have the Brotherhood class. We learn how to love one another, you know, how to act towards one another, who to love, who to hate, because yes, the Bible is not all about love. There is hate in the Bible. And this is part of the topic that we're going to see today, that the reason we're destroyed because we love the wrong things. We love the wrong people, you know, and we don't hate the right ones. How does that make sense? Well, it is in our community. When I mean our, of course, I'm addressing so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, right? Damn near in every tribe, they will say, there's a saying in the Benjamite tribes, right? They said the worst enemy of a Benjamite, of a West Indian, is another West Indian. The worst enemy of a Mexican is another Mexican. You know, and so on and so forth through all the tribes. They said black people can't, you know, we can't deal with each other or whatnot. The worst enemy of a black man is another black man. That cannot be further from the truth. Imagine that. We consider each other our worst enemies, but who do we turn to for help afterwards? Who do we decide to try and join or integrate with? Think about that for a second. Which is going to be the topic of the class, is that us envying our oppressor leads to our destruction. The reason we're destroyed, you know, when I say oppressor, I'm not just talking about so-called Caucasian people, the Edomites, the devil the Bible speaks of. No, every single nation we're trying to join that is not of our nation, once we envy them, we decide to follow them, we decide to adopt their ways, that leads to our destruction. You understand? Our worst enemy is a heathen nation, is a strange nation. This is who our enemy is. The best ally so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian have is another so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian. Nowhere else. What are we going to do? You know, here's the problem. Because we've been taught, like, we need to understand another thing, right? We have 400 years of being conditioned to hate each other. Like, sometimes it reminds me of a camp tape I've seen, right? We probably all of us seen, especially if you're in the school. But it's Captain Kapash. Some cat came up to the camp and told Captain Kapash, y'all are too militant. Now, come to find out, that cat is the rapper, the so-called gangster rapper, Waka Flocka Flames. He came to the camp, he said, we're too militant. But we have over 400 years of being conditioned to be destroyed, of being conditioned to hate one another. How can we not be aggressive with what we say? It's not like we're harming anyone physically. We're just saying, listen, it's time for us to leave every single nation alone and start to focus on us and only us. Because nobody else cares about us but us. Commander General YAHANNA keeps saying it. We are the only thing we got. And guess what? Right now, our people are going through it. What's the name of the hurricane? Hurricane Melissa is devastating the Caribbean islands. I didn't hear not one Palestinian, not one African, not one Asian say, well, let's pray for Jamaica. Let's pray for Puerto Rico. Let's pray for Cuba. Let's pray for Haiti. Let's pray for Dominican Republic. I didn't hear none of them say anything. But then they will turn around and say, why don't you pray for Palestine? Why? Because not one Palestinian prayed for Jamaica. Not one Palestinian prayed for Haiti. Like right now, they're being devastated by a hurricane. and they still would ask us for compassion, you know, to look at what they're going through, for mercy. Why you ask me for a prayer? Why you ask me for any goddamn thing? Guess what? We still give it to them. We still pray for Palestine. When I say we, I'm talking about our people in general, right? Our people still pray for Palestine. Our people still pray for Ukraine. But now when it's time to turn around and pray for us, crickets. Everybody's quiet. Following the oppressor, envying them, you're going to see it leads to your destruction. And it seems that there need to be more disastrous events happening to our people for us to understand that it's time for us to separate and come back to the Lord. Because every time we decide to follow these heathens, every time we decide to follow these strange nations, we've been more and more destroyed. None of these strange nations have the solution. You know how I know where's the proof? Salakia. Our people are converting to Islam just to fight the ideology of white supremacy in the Roman Catholic Church and its different branches like Christianity, Baptism, and whatnot. Islam is the same exact thing, just the Arab version. You understand? Our people look towards everything but the Bible, which is what belongs to us. You're not going to use an excuse like, well, the Bible's a white man's, but we can't follow it. We are going to turn on and celebrate Halloween tomorrow, you goddamn hypocrites. You're not going to celebrate Christmas on the 25th. And even then, if it's not just adopting the white man's ways, y'all adopt the ways of every single nation but yours. Like what? Y'all going to listen to, what's his name again? Umar Johnson, who's not even a doctor, and go back to Africa? When you're not African, listen, all skinfolk is not kinfolk. You have no ties to Africa. Now, y'all need to let go of every single thing that you were told to believe. Yes, the only thing that you were not told to believe is the only thing that you reject, which is the Bible. That's the only thing you were not told to believe. Listen, slaves had their ears and tongues cut off when they tried to read the Bible, and their eyes gouged out. And then they had to make the slave Bible. Why did they have to make a specific? Why not let the slaves read the original Bible? Because they would have another Nat Turner. That's why. There's another brother. I forgot what's his name. We covered his name, his story during one of the history classes, right? One of the black people in Montreal. He read the Bible. He said, well, damn, my people are not supposed to be slaves. I forgot his name. We're gonna go back to these history classes on Sundays. You understand? The point is, this is our blueprint for every single issue that we face on a daily basis. You understand? And one of the reasons, like, you have to understand the psychology of why we're trying to be like these oppressors. You know, you have to understand psychology. It's like we want to be like everybody else. Let me give you an analogy. A lot of kids, they start smoking and doing drugs just to be like the others, just to be cool, because because that lifestyle is promoted as what's trending. Listen, kids today, you know, they just tattoo themselves and drink codeine because it's fun, because that's what's being promoted as fun. When has it ever been fun to be a junkie? Imagine that. You understand? These nations, there's a propaganda that's being pushed at, you know, especially towards our people, really just towards our people, because these nations are doing lasciviousness by nature. Our people are made to believe that living an alternative lifestyle is fun. They're made to believe that being a criminal, you know, there's no other way than to be a criminal. Why? Because, you know, the people we see as successful, right, as a whole, they're not hiding their criminal history. I mean, Donald Trump is a felon. Like, you understand? You think like, well, maybe we try to be like the East Indians and do what the East Indian do. A thug is the East Indian word. Every aspect that we adopt from these heathens, we're pushed to believe that it's a better way than being who we are. Why? Because our people is not dumb. We're the smartest people on earth. And guess what? We're seeing the condition that we're in. We're like, well, damn, we're left. We're still slaves. Especially for those who are, you know, not as indoctrinated by the church. They realize, well, my people is still slaves. The church is not doing anything, right? The mosque either. So they result to being criminals and adopt all types of ways. Well, guess what? We are slaves, but it's not forever. This is our last captivity. We will be free very soon, sooner than y'all think. All these events that we're seeing throughout the world, whether it's the hurricane, do you know how many earthquakes happened like the past couple of days just in the Caribbean? I ain't even talking about the rest of the planet. These are all signs. The government's collapsing, civil war, race war. These are all signs that Christ is coming back very soon. When he comes back, he's coming to redeem his people, which is you, so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You just have to be patient. I know it's not easy. It's not. They damn near beat the fight out of you for 400 years. You know, it's not easy. But our God is a God of war, and we are his children. We are men of war. We are to fight every day. You understand? Let me pull Lamentations real quick, right? We'll go to Lamentations chapter 4. And then we get into the topic of the class. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 22. Any questions or comments, type it in the chat. We are live on I.S.U.P.K, Montreal, Toronto, UPK La Puraneta, and Haiti on YouTube and Facebook. Type in your questions or comments in the chat. Make sure y'all clicking the sign-in link at the beginning and the end of the class as well. You know, if you're not in the school, do your 90 days, get your Hebrew name and all the benefits that come with it, because it's time like never before to come into the school. You understand? Let me share my screen. Is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished. Every single time, you know, we do something wrong, we get punished. But never forever. And then when it says forever, it means for a long time. You have to understand the context of it, right? That's why, you know, the Bible was written by black people, was written in slang. You see in Deuteronomy in the curse where it said, thou shalt see it no more again. You understand? Does that mean that we will never ever see our land ever again? Just means a very long time. Just like I'm saying, damn, you're waiting in line for whatever, a store or a doctor's appointment. You'd be like, yo, I've been there forever. You haven't been there forever. You've probably been there for what, an hour or two? You have to understand how we speak to understand the context of the Bible. You understand? The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, meaning our punishment is coming to an end. We've been put on timeout for what, 400 years? Yeah, it's coming to an end right now. O daughter of Zion, which is another name for the nation of Israel, the 12th tribe, so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. The captivity that we're in right now, us being under the white man's foot, this is our last slave master. This is our last captivity. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, just like Christ said. And we will be in rulership. You just have to be patient. You know. And it's not an easy task, but it is not impossible. And it must be done. You cannot give up and be like, well, damn, I'm broke, so I'm going to go sell drugs. Just get a job. Guess what? You think you're broke, you're going to go sell drugs, and then you're going to make money and not be broke no more? Drug dealers are broke. They live in the ghetto. Listen, you sell drugs and you're still broke. Just get a job. You know, like, make it make sense. You understand? You got to be patient. This is our last captivity. What do you want? Do you want to be rewarded in the kingdom, or do you want to, you know, be the least in the kingdom? That's what Christ said. Think about it. I don't want to be the least in the kingdom. I think I'm oppressed enough. You understand? And we're here in these classes so that you understand that you're being taught wrong. You're being told not to care, not to give a damn. You have to start caring. You have to start giving a damn. And that's how you're going to start changing. And if you really think you care, well, you would sit in these classes. Then you're throughout the week, you have this class. There's not one excuse for you to be missing, to not be in these classes. And if you miss it, who knows? Maybe you're at the slavery right now. Maybe you can't watch the classes live. You could just rewatch it. You could message us, isupkmontreal@gmail.com. Wherever you are, look up the ISUPK in your zone or the closest one. isupktrinidad@gmail.com, isupkit@gmail.com, whichever. isupkfrance@gmail.com. There's no excuse for you to not be in the school. You understand? Let's finish the verse. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. Again, this is our last captivity. This is our last slavery. It is coming to an end. He will visit thine iniquity, or daughter of Edom. Now, for those who wants to say that the white man is not the Edomites, I heard someone say, I heard someone said the Arabs are the Edomites. This is dumb as hell. Because who is our slave master today? Who is our oppressor? The oppressor of our oppressors. Who is it? Now ask yourself that. Who took us on slave ships to the Americas and the Caribbean, back and forth to Europe? Who did that? It's not the Arabs, the so-called Caucasian race, the Edomites, the children of Esau, O daughter of Edom. The Most High will revisit their transgression. You know, if you ask yourself, well, we've been going through so much, the Lord forgot about us. You know, if he's a just Lord, why he didn't punish them? Everything, yeah, everything, there's a time for everything. Don't worry about it. Their time is coming too. He didn't forget. He will visit their transgression, their iniquity. O daughter of Edom, the whole nation. You understand? So, okay, let's end it right here. We'll go to Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. This is what we have to understand, right? Our people are so destroyed. We just gravitate towards anything that give us a false light in the darkness that we're in. Just that little false hope. You know, that's why when you're broke, you decide to become a criminal. This is not your culture to be a criminal. You should not be a thug. If you don't believe me, listen, a lot of people think that it is our culture to be a thug. Let me show you where the word thug comes from. Right? Before we get into the verse. I'm going to show you where the word thug comes from. Let me share my screen. This is where the word thugs come from. A thuggy. What is a thuggy, you may ask? Well, it's simple. Look at this picture right here. These are the original thugs. This is where the word thugs come from these people. Now, mind you, they would set up shop in your neighborhood. They will tell their children to stay away from you because you are a thug. Next time you're being called a thug by any East Indian, Pakistani, Sri Lankan, just tell them to look up the word thuggy. You know, and they just say, well, thuggy is not a thug. Look what it says right here, a group of thugs. You understand? These are the real thugs. Thuggy was a network of organized crime in medieval to postmodern centuries of gangs that traversed the Indian subcontinent, murdering and robbing people. A member of Thuggy was referred to as a thug. Listen, you cannot make that up. Just let them know next time, right? They want to call you a thug, just let them know that they are the real thugs. They are the thugs. They are a thuggy. The thugs were purported to have murdered their victims by strangling using a bandana as a tool. The thugs were believed to practice their killings as a form of worship towards the goddess Kali. That's the East Indian goddess that pulls its tongue out like a whore. Salakia. Imagine that. Thugs have bandanas since the medieval time. Good night. You think it's all a coincidence that y'all niggas, Crips and Bloods, Salakia, that you brothers, Crips and Bloods, all these so-called gangs today have bandanas? No, it's not a coincidence. You adopted that from the Thuggies. You understand? There's nothing new under the sun. The point is, instead of adopting a criminal lifestyle, let's just suffer it. The Lord will provide. The Lord will always provide. Job was rendered like good night. He was tested to the max. His family is gone. He lost his children. His wife said, curse God. He forgot about you. Job told her to shut the hell up. She's dumb as hell. You understand? Our people, like, it's not like we have never seen better days. Imagine that. Now we suffered through the worst and we're still here. We haven't been rendered extinct. You know, imagine being a nation and there's not one of you left anymore. God destroyed nations to where some of them haven't not been left anymore. Tribes. I think one of them is like the Hittites or the Hivites. You can't find any of these stinking Africans anymore. They've been rendered. They've been exterminated. You know, the extermination of the Caucasian race is prophesied in Obadiah. They will be like, you know, erased off the census. Not one of them left. Imagine being that. But guess what? You've been going through so many hardships. You've been going through so many captivities, and you're still here. Of course, we're destroyed spiritually, but guess what? One of the main reasons we're destroyed spiritually is because we fall after these disgusting nations. We want to be white so, especially white people. Good night. We want to be white so bad. And I'm trying to ask yourself, what is so good about them that you want to be like them? Look at true history, right? Before we get into the verse. True history, what do? They commit genocide. You know, they rape everything that has a heartbeat. You give them some food because you're compassionate. They steal the recipe. They don't even care about the recipe, to be honest. They just kill you and take all the food, and don't even know how to cook it. And they just eat it raw. And then they steal everything. And then, you know, talking about copyright infringement. The whole white society is made from copyright infringement. Imagine that. What is so great about being like that, like them? Now that's one oppressor you want to be like. What is so great about being a Muslim. Didn't you know the Arabs had you in captivity? The Arabs enslaved you. Why would you want to be a Muslim? Like, what's different? How is it different from being a Christian? Both of them enslaved you. We need some explanation. Then you want to be an African. The Africans did that too. They enslaved you. They make, you know, they don't like you. I just seen a clip. Officer Kai, one from Jamaica. Shout out to Officer Kai, one from Jamaica. Lord be with the brothers over there, right? This Nigerian woman said that her Nigerian teacher treated her like crap her whole life because the Nigerian teacher thought that she was Jamaican. Now, come to find out, they're both Nigerian. She apologized. She's like, no, imagine if she was actually Jamaican. They're showing you time after time. They despise you. You want to be like the East Indian and you know, especially in the Caribbean. Oh, good night. We think is getting a coolie girl is prime. No, it's not. East Indians in Trinidad call you thugs. Now come to find out, they are the real thugs. We just seen it. No nation wants any ties to you. They want your flavor, but they don't want your suffering. You understand? In the times that we're in right now, we can't afford to crack and be like, yo, I'm gonna have to adopt some of their ways to try and make it out. Make it out where? Nigga, make it out the hood. You're still gonna be, listen, you're $1 million slave if you're talking about making it out the hood. What are you talking about? In the I.S.U.P.K, we want to make it out of captivity. You want to make it out the hood. We're talking about making it out of captivity. You're gonna have to be patient. You're gonna have to endure it till the end. That's what Christ said. Let's get it real quick. I wanted to get another verse first, but let's get it real quick, right? Go to Matthew chapter 24. Where is it? Verse 13. That's especially for all those Christians out here talking about everybody will be saved. This is another cut for them Christians, because that tells you who will be saved as well. Matthew chapter 24, verse 13. But he that shall endure until the end, this is what we have to do until Christ comes back and deliver us. We have to endure till the end, never give up. The Lord is a man of war. You think he had, it's not even in his dictionary, giving up? What are you talking about? The only thing you could give up, you know what? Is your lust. Give up wanting to be like the heathens. Give that up. Anything that is righteous, you hold on to it. You endure till the end. You understand? Matthew 24 and 13. But he that shall endure till the end, the same shall be saved. So Christ comes back, you gotta endure till the end. Who cares if you're looked at as an outcast because you don't want to marry another nation? You don't celebrate Christmas. You don't celebrate Halloween tomorrow. Guess what? If you don't celebrate Halloween tomorrow, you're one of the best parents ever. You know why? They just put out an article saying they lacing all the candies with drugs. Good night. If you celebrate Halloween tomorrow, you hate your kids. I'm gonna tell you right away. You know, listen, the adults are not safe. If the adults are not safe, what makes you think the kids are safe? Damn. Just know this. Again, Christ said, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. Who cares if you're an outcast because you don't celebrate everything that everybody celebrates? You're not supposed to. You're supposed to be holy, which means to be separate, meaning set apart. You're going to be set apart and not celebrate Halloween and not celebrate Christmas and never celebrate your birthday. You're never going to marry a white woman. You're not even going to look at them. That's how you want to be. Separate, so that you never adopt the East Indian denomination of a thug. You're not. You understand? Christ said, he that shall endure till the end, the same will be saved. We have to endure until the end. We have to suffer. Life was never easy. You know, they portray us as, yes, you could go ahead and sell drugs and be rich. That's all they do. They push propaganda to brainwash you. You know, talking about all you could be is a rapper, make millions. A lot of y'all do trashy songs. You will never be signed. And you still chase a music career. Chase the truth. Chase righteousness. Chase the kingdom of God. That's what you need to chase. You understand? What is it again? Matthew chapter 6. And then we're going to get into Philippians, right? Salakia. Matthew chapter 6. What is it? Verse 33. We're going to make another class about the whole Matthew chapter 6 again, because I know a lot of people want to know, what do I do when I struggle? That's what you do. You serve the Most High and he will provide. Matthew chapter 6 verse 33. This is what you should seek. But seek ye first the kingdom of God. The whole chapter from verse 24 on down to the last verse is about you can't serve the Most High money. You're going to have to choose a side. You can't think about, well, I'm starving to death, so I'm going to go rob the grocery store. You know, my shoes have holes in them. My clothes stink, so I'm going to go steal some clothes. You can't think like that. You understand? Well, it is a sin to marry, to interracial marriage, but I can't find a sister, or the other sisters I found, they don't want me, or they're married. So what am I going to do? I'm going to sleep with a heathen. You can't think like that. The Lord knows what you need. He will give you a wife, if not multiple wives. If you're a sister, he's going to get you a husband. He's going to get you clothes, going to get you shelter, he's going to get you food, going to get you drink. You know, he's going to take care of you, just like he takes care of the animals. The animals just have to be animals. You don't have to do nothing. Just the cat be a cat, the bird be a bird, and that's it. And the Most High provides for everything. For the plants, it's raining right now today where I'm at. The Most High is making it rain on the grass. The grass keeps growing. He provides sun. You know, the Most High takes care of everything. The only thing that you have to do, so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native, is to obey the Lord, and he will provide. The only thing that you should seek is this, Matthew 6 and 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. This is what you should strive to seek, should strive for. To be righteous. What is it to be righteous? It's to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Not to follow the white man. Not to follow the Arabs. The Arabs don't follow the law. The Arabs sin all the time. We don't have the same God. That's a lie. You know how I know? Because that's what the Quran says. Yeah, y'all, you see why I got you right there. The Quran says we don't follow the same God. You know, the Quran says we don't have the same laws. The Quran says you can eat pork. The Quran doesn't stop you from eating shrimp, crab, and lobster, or oysters, or other unclean, you know, animals. That's how I know I could never follow the Quran. I could never. Because under certain circumstances, you have to pass the sin. The Bible doesn't give you any license to sin. You understand? Salakia. Matthew 6 and 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. That's all you need to do, is to seek righteousness. And this is why we have these classes. We teach you how to seek righteousness. Listen, the first thing you need to do is come to these classes. You don't have a physical building to go to, no sweat. You can't physically come to the building, go, I don't know, you're slaving. You're on your job. No sweat. Tune in online. You missed it. No sweat. Rewatch the class. You don't have any excuse. You're doing like Moses, who didn't want to do the work. God tell him, what are you talking about? Not only am I with you, I got Aaron who's going to speak for you. You have no excuses. Just like Moses didn't have an excuse, you don't have an excuse. Come to class. You understand? Now let me go to the verse I wanted to bring up. Go to Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Be glad with what you got. You know, you got to be glad with what you got. And maybe you will look at things differently. Maybe you will look at things like, you know, I don't have to follow white people to be successful. What is success? What are the standard of success today? Ask yourself these questions. Like, what does it mean to be successful? We think I want a successful rap career. What does that even mean? Lil Wayne is a millionaire. The brother's so destroyed. I don't even think he knows what day is today. How many of amazing artists die of drug abuse? You understand? And they're quote unquote successful. They made it out the hood. Ask yourself that. I want to be, what is to be successful? What, you're gonna follow the white man who's the biggest drug dealer on the face of the earth and try to become the next Pablo Escobar? Pablo Escobar was not successful. He died with a bullet in the head. They're saying he got shot. They're saying he shot himself. Who cares? He's not there no more. The Colombian people were living in fear for decades because they had a homegrown terrorist in Colombia. Is that being successful? You understand? What is the standard of success today? What, you have a degree and now you're $100,000 in debt and you can't do nothing with your degree? Don't get me wrong, ain't nothing wrong with getting a degree. Get your education, ain't nothing wrong with that. But to what standard are you basing your success off of? That's what I'm getting at, right? Martin Luther King taught that success was having a white woman by his side. Really, he was a sexual deviant. But a lot of us, y'all can read the book, what I call it again. I have it somewhere. Black Skin and White Max from Frantz Fanon. It explained to you that we see success through the white man's lens, hence the term having a white mask. We try to navigate the white man's society, you know, trying to be like him. That's why we chase for white women. Listen, be content to have that sister that loves you. You're going to argue with her. Then guess what? You're going to argue with every single woman. You're going to have an argument with a woman. You know, you're going to have, there's no perfect relationship without any arguments. Maybe, you know, I don't know, whatever stupid argument over a color of some clothes or the food, you know, some dumb arguments, right? The point is, a man like Martin Luther King was not content with the beautiful sister he had. He had to throw her away to have an orgy with disgusting, filthy white women. That's what Martin Luther King did. He was not content with what he got. You know, the people who marched for integration were not content with the black businesses they had. They were not content to have a separate swimming pool, separate water fountain, a separate educational system. They wanted more. They wanted to be side by side with the white man. The white lady said, why did black people even march? To what? Share a toilet seat with white people? Why did black people march? Share the same swimming pool as white people? Do you really want to be in the same swimming pool as a people who is for whom it's unnatural to bathe? That's crazy. Listen, be content with what you got. Because now that you're not content with what you got, what do? You strive for more, but Our people strive for more the wrong way possible. They look at the other nations. They look at what the other nations do. They take on the other nations' culture. They take on the other nations' ways. What are the other nations' ways? We just seen the East Indians are the real thugs. We know what the white man does. It's not a secret. I mean, it doesn't matter whether or not they release the Epstein list. It's irrelevant. Who cares who's on the Epstein list or not? Historically speaking, the white man's a sexual deviant. He just rapes everything that has a heartbeat. So we don't give a damn about the Epstein list. We couldn't care less about speculating on who's on the list or not. You know why? Because the Bible says that Esau is the most profane fornicator. Who cares whose name is on the list? We know his nature is to be disgusting. You understand? This is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. Imagine, I'm going to say imagine, but for lack of better words, imagine any unimaginable act of deviancy. Just know the white man already did it. He did. And if he didn't do it, he's going to create it. So who cares who's on the Epstein list? We know the white man is a sexual deviant by nature. This is what the Bible says. Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Good night. Who did you learn? Who did you learn it from to not being content with what you got? You see it right here. You see it right here. Let's go back to Philippians. Philippians 4 and 11 says, not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content. Especially as a slave in captivity. Don't strive to be, ain't nothing wrong in having a successful business. A lot of brothers in the school have businesses. Sisters in the school have businesses, right? And the Lord is with you. You're unstoppable. When the Lord is with you. When the Lord is not with you, guess what? You're going to become a rapper. You're going to make millions. You're going to ice out your face. Put diamonds in your mouth. You're going to become a drug addict. And then you're going to die of overdose. Because the Lord is not with you. You know, you're gonna be a sister. You're gonna be over sexualized to sell records or to sell a line of clothing. The Lord is not with you. Now you're a whore, and you've been ran through, and who knows, probably even worse. You understand? Be content with what you got. Appreciate the small things, and the Lord will be with you. He's gonna give you even more and even more. Twice, 3 times better than what you got. You get me? Because we're taught in this society and not being content with what we got. Ain't nothing wrong in wanting better, in wanting a better situation, but look at how we do things to achieve better positions, better situations, better things. We look at the oppressor and we adopt his ways. Even us forming a gang, besides the thuggies of India, right? Forming gangs and stuff like that, we model ourselves after the Italian mob. Listen, Birdman said Cash Money was like the mafia. Nigga, nah. who lied to you? Said Cash Money was like the mafia. The Jamaicans, good night. They said Don this and Don that. I know so many Dons. You're not Italian. We have to understand that adopting these ways will just destroy our people even more than already destroyed. Like, it's to the point where the heathens, you know what, let's get Psalm chapter 83 real quick. Psalm chapter 83, the heathens don't even have to budge a finger. All they have to do is make sure that you sin. Right, let's go Psalms 83 verse 3, yeah? Psalm chapter 83 verse 3 says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. for time's sake, right? This talking about the heathens, the strange nations. They had a council, they had a meeting together against us. Now it's to the point where they don't have to lift a finger. What the white man says, you just let these people kill each other. Salakia, that's it. And every heathen is part of the plan. And consulted against thy hidden ones. Salakia, verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Y'all don't even know y'all the same people. Y'all fight over a block, over a city, over a state, over a hair texture, over a language barrier. Y'all are dumb as hell. And this is the state that we are rendered to. Why? Because we decided to look at the heathens. It's not enough to be holy and to be special. We want to be like everyone else, which is the reason that our nation is falling. Not forever though. We're coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments. You know, that's why you have to be separate from these heathens. You understand? And this is not the first time. Like throughout the Bible, you will. I'm gonna show you a great example, right, of how, you know, Salakia, of how this is our following after the heathens is our demise. We think we never have enough. We think, you know, we're doomed without them. The truth is, they're doomed without us. You understand? But real quick, let me get Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Then we're gonna give you throughout the Bible, you're gonna see we should have never been like the heathens, ever. And I'm gonna show you exactly that history just repeats itself until it doesn't no more, because this is our last captivity. We have learned from our mistakes. We will not repeat these again, because we are not going to slavery ever again. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Which nation on the face of the earth do not oppress you? So-called Black, Latino, and Native. Which nation do not oppress you? Which nation do not benefit from your oppression? Ask yourself that. You understand? Ask yourself, who do not benefit from oppressing so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Natives? Every nation does. And if not, name me one that doesn't. Every single nation, just the fact that they're able to move over here, they're able to, how you call it, immigrate, you know, or whatnot, is because a genocide was committed against the Native American Indians. You know how the Polish people are able to live in Chicago, and the Ukrainians and all these people are able to move and live Chicago and establish themselves? You know how? Because a genocide was committed against the Native Indians. Because a Haitian man founded the city of Chicago. You understand? That's how. Don't believe me? Y'all could just look it up. Y'all think we're making stuff up and say your black people made everything. A Haitian man founded the city of Chicago. Yeah, look it up. The black people don't benefit from anything in Chicago. The only thing that black people can actually benefit from in Chicago is the truth. Y'all in the area of Chicago, y'all call Captain 13,000 Mawaquad. That's what y'all need to do. You understand? And he will show you that the only reason you are oppressed, the only reason you're the state that you're in, right? Because you decide to follow the heathens, worship their God, follow their ways as opposed to following the ways of the Lord, following your God, following your culture. You envying your oppressor is the reason you are destroyed. You understand? Envying your oppressor and following his ways leads you to abandon your ways. Your ways were given by the Most High God of the Bible, the one and only God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You understand? His laws, his statutes, his commandments that you throw away, that you break by following the heathens, by wanting to be like them. What the Bible says, Proverbs 3:31 said, envy thou not the oppressor. You should not want to be like him. You should not want to look like him, to smell like him, you know. And that's just not white people. All these nations are oppressing you. The Africans, the East Indians, the Chinese, the Arabs. White people is really the oppressor of your oppressors. He's oppressing everyone. He's even oppressing himself. That's why in Proverbs, what is it, 29:2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When we are in authority, everybody will be glad that, damn, finally it's over. We're finally under righteous rulership. Until then, it says that the people will mourn. Well, guess what? You should not want to be like the people who is ruling the earth right now that are causing everybody to mourn. You should not want to be like the villain who everybody's complaining about. You should not. That's what the Bible says, Proverbs 3:31, envy thou not the oppressor. You should not want to be like, I don't know, listen, regular, irregular, dangerous, and they're all dangerous white people. There's not one of them who's not dangerous. You should not want to be like them. You should not choose any of their ways. In Canada, they legalized marijuana, I think, what, 5 years ago? No, what am I talking about? 7 years ago? Right? You don't choose none of it. Don't choose the ways of a drug addict. Don't you know that they are the biggest drug addict? Why would you want to be like them? They are the most deviant people on the face of the earth. The people over there who are bombarding the Palestinians, they claim to be us. They claim they're the real Jews when they're not. They have the biggest LGBT parade in the Middle East. If they're the people of God, why do they even have an LGBT parade? Why do they even celebrate that? We're sure that they're not the people of God. Damn, they were protesting successfully at that to assault Palestinian soldiers. When I mean assault, I'm not talking about punch and kick them. You understand? That's the oppressor of oppressors. We should not choose any way of any oppressor. You should not envy any single oppressor that's over you. Right? Y'all give me 1 second, Babu Kusha. Salakia had a little interruption. You understand? The point is, you should not envy any of these oppressors. Right? Now let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. You're going to understand a better perspective, greater example. On us envying the oppressors, thinking we need them, when we don't, they need us. And us following the oppressor, envying them and following them led to the destruction. And us being in Greek captivity. And even then, when I see that afterwards, when we separated from them, we decide to go back to following the Most High. You understand? We were better off than when we decided to follow the Greeks. 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. In those days there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, this is brothers like Martin Luther King, or all these sellouts, all these coons and Uncle Toms. They said, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. They say, you know what, why don't we make a deal? Let's strike a deal with the Greeks, right? Let's strike a deal with all these heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. We thinking we need them. And that's the same as when we left Egypt. In Egypt, they complained to Moses, we want to go back to Egypt. At least we had good food over there. What are you feeding us? Unseasoned, unleavened bread? I want a burger. That's what they told Moses. They said they had fish, they had onions, they had spices, they have all type of things. They had garlic, right? They wanted the garlic bread. They didn't want to eat unseasoned, unleavened bread for 40 years in the wilderness. You rather want to be with the heathens. You can't suffer, like, you know, when they say black people complain too much, you complain for the wrong things. You want to be white. Why would you want to be white? Why would you want to be Greek? The Greco-Romans, like, they damn near, listen, the Greco-Romans legalized pedophilia. Didn't you know that the Romans only kept women just to breed? If they could have children with no women, they would have got rid of the women. That's what the Romans said. Why would you want to be like them? Like the white women said, why did black people march to share the same toilet seat and swimming pool as us? That was dumb. It was. And it was also dirty. Salaki. First Maccabees chapter 1 and 11 tell you right here, a lot of these coons, really, they're the one who were envying the Greeks, but they persuaded many. They said, yo, we need to follow them because without them, we're nothing. That's why they said, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. The Most High say, if you're holy and you follow the commandments, you'll be on top of the world. Imagine lowering yourself to be like these filthy beasts. Salakia. Let's keep reading. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. What is a device? It's a plan. You know, they plan to like, yo, let's go strike a deal with the Greeks because without them we're nothing. You know, we want to be just like them. Salakia. We want to be just like them. We want to be able to swim in luxury, right? And to enjoy the good life, the lavish life. What's that Berman said? The lavish lifestyle of the Greeks, right? Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king. Listen, some of them were like, yo, listen, you know what? It's not only about making a deal with them. We're going to go straight to the king. It's like all you coon-ass Negroes that went to Donald Trump. All you brothers that just go to Donald Trump, you go to see Mike Carney. You want to talk with the chief who runs things. You want to talk to the big boss. They want to talk to the king. They're like, yo, listen, whatever we have to do to be able to live the lavish lifestyle that you're living, to be part of this society, to be integrated and assimilate to y'all, that's when they went to tell the king they'll do it. That they went to the king who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. King said, yeah, go ahead, just do anything that we do. You have my permission. Imagine that. You put the king on a higher pedestal than the Most High God. What did we read last week or 2 weeks ago? Isaiah, what is it? 31:3. The Egyptians are just men. They're not gods. Well, the Greeks are the same. What can the king do? What can this king do that God can't do? You understand? This is why you're destroyed. Because the Most High is not protecting you when you don't follow him. You want to follow the homosexual heathens? Well, guess what? You're going to be destroyed just like he is. Salaki. Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. Like you're defiling your land just to please the heathen, just to be like them. This place of exercise is a gym. Go look where the gym come from. Gym is short from gymnasium, which is, we got that from the Greeks. Y'all don't believe it? Watch this. See, in the ISUPK, we know things, right? We know stuff. You don't. We don't just make up stuff over here, right? We built a gym in Jerusalem because we wanted to be like the Greeks. The word gym is short form of gymnasium, which comes from the ancient Greek word gymnos, meaning naked, and gymnazein, to train naked. Y'all think it's a surprise y'all see all types of sexual deviants in the gym today? They were always deviants. They were training, they were lifting weights naked. They were running on the treadmill naked. Not a treadmill, it's a stretch, Salaki. The treadmill as a punishment for slaves. The point is, they were exercising naked in the gym. And this is who you wanted to be like. You built a gym for naked people in the Holy Land because you wanted to be like the Greeks. You understand? The word gym is a short form of gymnasium, which comes from the ancient Greek words gymnos, which means naked, and gymnazein, to train naked. Ancient Greek athletes trained without clothing, which is why the word gymnasium literally means a place for naked exercise. And this is who you wanted to be? This is what y'all did in Jerusalem after following the Greeks? What did we read again earlier? Proverbs 3:31. Envy thou not the oppressor. What was there to envy there? To envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. It is a sin for you to uncover anyone's nakedness. It's a sin. Listen, as a man, the only nakedness you're supposed to see is your women nakedness. That's it. You're not supposed to look at anyone's nakedness. You're not supposed to just show your nakedness to the world. But guess what y'all did? Let's go back to 1 Maccabees, right? Let's start at verse 11 again, as a matter of fact. Imagine that, because y'all complain that, well, without the heathens, we're nothing. Well, damn. 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. In those days there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. You think you're nothing without these heathens who train naked. You think you're nothing without following the Greeks, who are a disgusting, filthy, deviant people. Imagine that. Now you want to be like them, just like Martin Luther King said, let's just join hand in hands, little white boys with little black girls and little black boys with little white girls. And then what happened? We became nothing. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Since we integrated with them, we have had much sorrow. We're going to show you that just now. So Lakia, let's jump down again. Y'all went straight to the king, like, yeah, let's be like y'all. 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. What was the custom of these heathens? To train naked. To be a deviant. You understand? Look up the custom of the Greek Empire. Look up the custom of the Greeks. Well, we're going to have, good night. You know what? We're going to do a whole history class on the customs of these nations that we decided to adopt. Let's keep reading. Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised. That is not literal. You cannot reattach your foreskin. This is talking about being like everybody else. Because when you're circumcised, it's a metaphor that the foreskin is cut off. It is set apart. Not like everybody else. Now you made yourself uncircumcised. You're like everybody else. And forsook the holy covenant. You forgot about the covenant that was separated. The covenant that was set apart only for the children of Israel. Passed down from Abraham, Isaac to Jacob and to his 12 sons. That's why it's a holy covenant. It's not for everybody. Not everybody had the promise. Only the nation of Israel. You understand? And y'all forgot about that. All you have to do is to follow the commandments and you'll be above everybody. Y'all forgot about that. Y'all were like, well, we want to be like the Greeks. They're the one running the show. Well, damn. And y'all built a naked gym, a naked place of exercise at Jerusalem. And joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. You understand? You're going to see that how you think, well, we had much sorrow when we departed from the heathen. Let me show you that we had much sorrow joining to the heathens. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 20. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt, because they took over Egypt. That's why you have Cleopatra in them. He returned in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. I thought we had much sorrow when we departed from them. Those same Greeks that we decided to join turned around and came to slaughter us. He went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. He brought the whole army to kill us, to enslave us. This is the story of the Maccabees were enslaved into Greek captivity. And these are the same people you decided to join. This is just like, you know, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native voting for Donald Trump. And now guess what? He put out the executive order to arrest and deport everybody. Imagine that. What you're seeing today is the same thing we seen at the time of the Maccabees. You know, after striking a deal with them, after striking a deal with Trump, after electing Trump again, Trump is turning around and say, well, we're going to deport everybody. ICE is arresting Latinos. They try to deport natives. They're arresting black people as well. This is the same exact thing, because these are the same exact people. They are the devil the Bible speaks of. Their nature never changed from century to century to century. Just like you never changed. We're coming back to our true culture, which is to stay apart, to depart from these heathens. Because we have had much sorrow when we joined with these heathens. And this is proof right there. Y'all can go through the whole chapter. Like I said, we're going to do a history class. In the feast of Hanukkah is coming up. So we're definitely going to go through the Maccabees, right, in more details. But let's keep reading for time's sake. Verse 21. And entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof. It was not enough to come, you know, slaughter us and enslave us. They stole everything from you. The Greek took all your artifacts. You understand? Not just any random piece of gold too. They took the altar, the candlestick. They took all the vessels thereof. They took everything from the temple, from our sanctuary, from our holy place. They took everything. And remind you, we just read in verse 11 that when we depart from the heathens, we have had much sorrow. You decided to join the heathens, they turned around and started slaughtering you and stealing from you, which is exactly what white people do till this day. Salakia. Joining these heathens, envying them, joining them, leads to the destruction of our people. Verse 22. And the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He did not leave anything to y'all. Anything. You understand? He did not, he stole, he robbed everything from you. And this is the same oppressor today. I mean, that's his nature. What does it say in Obadiah? That, oh, oppressor really is a sword winner. He'll take everything and still won't have enough. What is it? Obadiah chapter 1 and 5, I think. Like he will steal everything and still won't have enough. You understand? Some troll in the chat said nobody is watching. Well, you're watching clearly because you're in the chat. You goddamn troll. You're watching because you're in the chat. Just make sure you like, you share, leave comments, ask questions, subscribe, send this to your trolling friends as well. That's what you should do. Push the algorithm. Push the truth. And be relentless with it. Good night. Salakia. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse can we drop it? No, let's go a bit more, right? Verse 23. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. Yeah, they're just robbing the whole temple, the whole people there. Yeah, I wanted to go down to verse 24 as a matter of fact. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 24. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. This is our people right there. You understand? Till this day, they speak very proudly on how they quote unquote discovered America, quote unquote discovered Canada. You understand? Built these so-called great British and French and Spanish empire. They're speaking so proudly of it. How did they do that? By a great massacre, by enslaving us, by colonizing us. That's how they did it. The Greeks did the same. These are the same people. They're all Edomites. This is their nature. This is what they do. From thousands of years ago until this day. You understand? And why did it happen? Why did the Greeks do that? How could it have happened to us? Guess what? We read in verse 11, we decided to join these people. And this is what happened. We forgot about the law. This is the only way these nations are able to overcome us. And I'm not speaking on personal opinion, whatever. I'm speaking as an oracle of God, like the Bible says to do, because what I just said is in the Bible. I know some of y'all may not believe me. Don't believe me. Believe what the scripture says. You understand? Real quick. This is the book of Judith, chapter 5, verse 20. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error, any mistake, any iniquity, you understand? Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, what people? It's talking about the nation of Israel. If we have any mistake, any sin, any flaw, this is what happens. And they sin against their God. You know, it's talking about the nation of Israel, because only the nation of Israel has an actual living God. Only the nation of Israel is liable to sin, which is transgressing the law. Let us consider and that this shall be their ruin. Let us go up and we shall overcome them. That's exactly what happened in the Maccabees. We are to be a holy people. We are to not envy our oppressor and choose none of his ways. What did we do? We said, well, ever since we departed from the heathen, we've been sad. Let's join the Greeks. And then build a good night. I can still believe this. Imagine we built a gym for naked people in Jerusalem. And then we're shocked that, damn, the Greeks is stealing and slaughtering us and enslaving us. God said, don't follow the heathens. He said, be holy. And you went and assimilated to the Greeks. One of the most lascivious, disgusting type of Edomite. Good night. Well, this is why our people are destroyed. Why? Because we envy our oppressor. Envying the oppressor will lead you to follow them in their ways. Whether it's the Edomites, the Ishmaelites, the Hamites, it doesn't matter. You should be a holy nation, a holy people, set apart from everybody else. Let's go back to 1 Maccabees. 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 24. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. Yeah, that's exactly what they do till this day. They speak very proudly on how they say they built America. How? They slaughtered the natives and they enslaved blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. That's how. You understand? Verse 25. Therefore, there was a great mourning in Israel. Wait a minute. Didn't we read earlier in 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11, that since we departed from them, we've been in much sorrow? Didn't we just read that in verse 11, that we've been sad ever since we separated from the heathens? That's after separation. That's post-integration. That's post-integration with the Greeks. What it said? 1 Maccabees 1 and 25. Therefore, there was a great mourning in Israel in every place where they were. Just like today. Y'all voted for Donald Trump. There was a great mourning in the Latino community. Y'all voted for Donald Trump. So-called Native American Indians were shocked that ICE was pulling them over. You voted for Donald Trump and you think that you didn't have the same plight as your Hispanic brothers. Now black people are getting arrested by ICE. Yeah. You following your oppressor leads to the destruction of your people, of your nation. You think you need them. That's Martin Luther King right there. Right after integrating with white people, Martin Luther King, after having his orgy with these white women, he had post-nut clarity. And he said, well, damn, my dream is actually a nightmare. I feel like I have led my people into a burning house. This is exactly what we're reading right here. 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 25. Therefore, there was a great mourning in Israel. Martin Luther King was like, whoa, I led my people into a burning house. And we've been mourning even more ever since. In every place where they were. Because don't think it's just in the South or in the US that this idea of integration. Listen, Martin, they renamed a park in Uptown in my city. They call it the Martin Luther King Park. Martin Luther King was considered a martyr for blacks and Hispanics. But he was nothing but a false prophet. He was nothing but an agent, a plant, however you want to call it. He was a sellout, just like these people who sold us out in the Maccabees, wanted to join the Greeks. They convinced everybody, just like Martin Luther King convinced everybody we had to march for integration. They turned around and they slaughtered us. They turned around and they bombed Black Wall Street. They turned around and they stole everything from us. It's like all you people who voted for Trump, now they're turning around, they're deporting everybody. And there is a great mourning in the nation, in every place where we are. You understand? Let's jump down to verse 57. Give me 1 second. First Maccabees to 1 verse 57. Mind you now, for time's sake, I'm gonna just break it down. We were not even allowed to follow our laws. We're not even allowed to be Israelites. And a matter of fact, I'm gonna show you this. Okay, let's read it, and I'm gonna show you something that just happened a couple days ago, which is proof that we are the biblical Jews of antiquity. I'm gonna show you that just now. Just bear with me, right? First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 57. And whosoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, meaning if you realize that, well, damn, you know what, we should separate from the heathens. Let me not eat pork. Let me not attend the gym. Why? Because they're all naked over there. You know, let me not eat pork and shrimp, crab, and lobster, and just let me not follow the Greeks or these heathens. Let me go back to following the law. The king's commandment was that they should be put to death. It was a death sentence for you to follow the law. It was a death sentence for you to not be a whore. It was a death sentence for you to not be a homosexual. Imagine that. Like, imagine that the LGBTQ community say, well, we were oppressed. We were oppressed. We were oppressed. We were forced to adopt your ways. And if we didn't just even eat pork, we were put to death. This is what comes with following the heathens. You understand? Let's keep reading. Verse 58. Thus did they by their authority under the Israelites every month to as many as were found in the city. You understand? Listen, every month they found some Israelites and they killed them. Verse 59. Now the 25th day of the month they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God. I think it's right here where the Greeks sacrificed pig on the altar, if I'm not mistaken. Verse 60, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. Any matter of following our culture, our laws, our customs, our ways would lead us to death. Not because it is punishable by death according to God, but according to the king, the Greek, that you decided to join, that you decided to assimilate to. You were put to death. You were erased off the census just for being an Israelite and falling after the Israelite. You know what that happened? That is the reason why you have Hellenists. You were not even allowed to be called a Jew. You were not allowed to be an Israelite no more. You had to be a Greek. You wanted to be a Greek, now you have no choice but to be a Greek. You cannot go back to being an Israelite. Now you're a Greek. You do as the Greeks do. That's basically what was going on. And if you decided not to do so, well, you'll be put to death. You know what the Greeks said? The Greeks said the same thing the Americans said, the same thing the French said, the same thing the Spaniards said. You know what they said? They said, the only good Israelite is a dead Israelite. What did the Americans say? The Americans said, the only good Indian is a dead Indian. The French said the same thing. They said, the only good Mexican is a dead Mexican. The only good nigger is a dead nigger. That's exactly what the Greeks were saying. If you will not identify as a Greek, you want to be an Israelite? We'll be an Israelite in death. This is what we have to face on a daily basis. You understand? This is how, listen, be proud to be an Israelite. Every nation is proud of the struggle they went through. You're the only one who rejected. You are a Jew, no ish, a Jew by blood. You're an Israelite or whatever tribe you're from. You better rep that, Salakia. You better rep that to the fullest. Because our people die just for being an Israelite. Our people die just for not eating pork. People died for not being whores. Our people died just to reject the ideology of the society they were in at the time. Imagine today you reject the fact that, Salakia, imagine today you reject being a drug addict. Back then in the time of the Maccabees, you would be put to death. Today, you reject the so-called rainbow alternative lifestyle. In the day of the Maccabees, you'd be put to death. Today, you reject so-called sexual liberation. This is what they call it. In the day of the Maccabees, you'll be put to death. Name it, no matter of sin they partook in at the time. I mean, today, name it. They did it back then. If you didn't do as them, you would have been put to death. So you better be proud. Don't tuck your shield, wear it proudly. You understand? Now they want to fire you because you're wearing a shield of David. Fire me. My people used to be put to death. You want to fire me? From what? From a slavery? From a job? My people used to be put to death. Go ahead and fire me then. Shit. You understand? Let's keep reading. Salakia. Verse 61. And they hanged the infants about their necks. Go ask the Jewish men over there bombarding Palestinians if they were ever hung, if they were ever lynched. This is lynching right here. You know the Jews are blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. The Bible shows you throughout the whole book. Our kids were lynched. Why? Because they were circumcised on the 8th day, because they did not eat pork, because they did not eat shrimp, because they refused to intermarry. You understand? Because they followed the law. Our kids were lynched just because they were Israelites, and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. Verse 62, howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. They said, listen, hey, if I gotta die because I don't eat pork, well, I'm gonna die. You understand? They were not cowards. They did not drop their sword. They did not let go of the Most High. That's what they did. They were one west till the end. One west to death till they buried them. That's what they were. You understand? Verse 63. Wherefore, the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. They said, they told the Greeks, we one west till death, till you bury me. That's what they told the Greeks. They did not compromise their spirit. They did not compromise anything till the end. Just like the brothers, what is it, in 2nd Maccabees? You understand? Just like them. The same. Let's keep reading. With one more verse. And there was very great wrath upon Israel. Yeah, after the Greeks were titled, it's like, yeah, no sweat. You don't want to be Greek. You want to be Israelite. You'll be a good dead Israelite. That's what they said. So like for time's sake, let's go to 2nd Maccabees real quick. Because this is how we got to become so-called Greeks. You see when I said there's neither Jew nor Greek? The Greeks it was talking about, it was us who basically were forced to become, to identify as Greeks and to do as the Greeks do, or just be put to death. 2nd Maccabees chapter 6 verse 6 says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or ancient fast. You were not even allowed to keep the Day of Atonement. Imagine that. You're not even allowed to observe the Sabbath. or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. It was forbidden. It was a death sentence for you to say that you are an Israelite. Paul said, I am an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin. Paul would have been put to death under the Greeks. You get me? So people ask me, yo, where you from? They say, I'm an Israelite. Say it proudly. Say it as proudly as you say that the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. You understand? It says the truth shall set you free. Just, if you're so-called Black, Latino, or Native Indian, descendant of the slaves in the Caribbean and the Americas on your father's side, on your father's lineage, you are an Israelite. Say it proudly. There was a time where our people would say it and be put to death at the hands of the Greeks. And then they became Hellenists. They became Greek by nationality. When I say nationality, I mean by citizenship. You know, so like these words are interchangeable in French. Slovakia. You understand? This was their adopted identity. You know what they're doing today? In France, watch this. You cannot make this up. You can tell me that these people are not the same people back then and that we're not the Jews. In France today, they are trying, which most likely will, make it legal, right? Make it illegal, Slovakia. They're trying to ban Creole, which is the language that is most spoken by French Benjamites, as myself. They're trying to ban Creole from France. This is how you're going to get this. And this is the same way we got Hellenists in the Bible. This is the same way our brothers became Greeks. You are not allowed to be who your people is. You're going to find out that they're banning Creole. Nobody's going to be able to speak Creole. And those who do are going to have to hide to do it. Well, because of that, guess what? The Most High will destroy France. You will see the Eiffel Tower burn down by the hands of God. You understand? Because you're oppressing his people. You're oppressing the tribe of Levi. You built the Eiffel Tower with the debt that you imposed on the Levites, who are the Haitians. You poisoned the French Benjamites with a carcinogenic pesticide. Now we have the highest rate of prostate cancer in the world. God will destroy France because of that. You understand? The French came to Canada. They looked at the Mohawk people of the city of Montreal today. They said, these people are the scourge of God. They have to be exterminated. That's what the French said when they came over here. The white man will make you believe that Canada was built with a native and French alliance. The French said they needed to exterminate the natives when they came over here. What are you talking about? The white man is the devil, meaning the deceiver. He's lying about everything. You understand? It's Salakia. Let's go real quick for time's sake. Let's go to 2nd Ezra's. Might have to do a part 2. 2nd Ezra's chapter 13. Let's jump down to verse 40. This is the book of 2nd Ezra's chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their land in the time of Hosea the king. These is talking about the northern kingdom, so-called Latinos and natives, right? It says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanessar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. This is when we were led away captives by the Assyrians. And he carried them over the waters, and so they came into another land. Verse 41. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen. They did the opposite that brothers did in the book of Maccabees. They say, yeah, we're not going to join them. We're not going to stay with them. We're going to leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. For time's sake, this is America. Y'all can read more about it. Listen, there's multiple interviews with so-called natives that say, we came from the east, from a far country in the east. Y'all could cop the book. You know, let me see if I could put it on the screen, right? Y'all go cop these books from Captain Kataza. You understand? I got the whole collection. I'm waiting for the 5th book. Salaki, sir, if you're seeing this, you understand? Y'all cop these books. They're available on Amazon. Issachar, son of Jacob. Reuben, my excellence. A tribe called Gad. We came from the east, right? The 3rd one, we came from the east, explain to you how the so-called Northern Kingdom ended up here. It is very well documented as well. You know, let's get back to 2nd Ezra, right? Verse 42, that they may dare, that they might dare keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. You know why? Because in our land, we always followed after the heathens. The Northern Kingdom said, well, we need to separate. The solution was always to be set apart. Why? Again, verse 41 says, yes, and we need to leave the multitude of the heathen. Why? Verse 42 tells you that they might dare, that they might dare keep their statutes, or laws. A statute is another word for a law. That they might dare keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. Why? Because we kept following the heathens. We kept wanting to be like the heathens. I think in the book of Judges, that's one of my favorite verses. The book of Judges, God said, hey, you want to worship the God of the heathens, not the heathens having in captivity? Tell these gods to free you. I'm the one who does it all the time. Clearly, you know, you don't give a damn. You can't even show appreciation. Go tell the gods of the people who enslave you to free you now. Of course, he's being sarcastic, which shows you it's the nigger God. You know, the point is, we always had the heathens around us that we wanted to be like. The question is, why is the Most High keeping the heathens around us? You know, why would he do that? It's simple. Let's go to Judges real quick, right? I'm going a bit quicker now because we're about to end the class. Let me post the sign out link in the class. For time's sake, about to end the class just now. Let's go in the book of Judges, chapter 2. We'll start at verse 16. Judges chapter 2, verse 16. Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges, which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them. If we, again, this whole Bible, we could do a whole history class from Genesis to Revelation. The Bible is not a religious book. We were in captivity again because we sinned. This is why we're in captivity all the time. Punishment. And don't think, well, this is horrible. I would never have my kid enslaved if, you know, he has bad grades or whatnot. Yeah, but guess what? God said, I don't think like you. You don't think like me. What's it? Isaiah 55:8. The punishment you administer to your children is not the same on the same level as a godly punishment our Father, the Most High, administers to us. Don't think of it that way. The point is, again, we were held captives. And every single time, the Most High raised up a man, some men, to deliver us from captivity, whether it was Moses, or as the brother again, Gideon, you understand, King David. We always had a man raised up by the Most High, right? We have Christ, so on and so forth. Let's keep reading. Verse 17, and yet they would not hearken unto their judges. Them. See, that's why I think it's Judges chapter 10. See, after that, down the line, we still kept doing the same stupidness. You know, we get free from captivity and we still fuck around and find out. The hard way, of course. Salakia, excuse my French. We just got freed from our enemies and we still won't listen. You know, that's why we're called a stiff-necked people. We get out of trouble, we run right back to it. That night. Judges chapter 2, verse 17. And yet they will not hearken unto their judges, but they went a whoring after other gods. Whose gods? The gods of the other nations. You envy them. Why? Because their gods let them do stupid shit. Their gods, they have gods of fertility where they have orgies in public and they're allowed to drink. You're not allowed to have orgies, that's sexual deviancy, and you're allowed to drink, but you're not allowed to be a drunk. Their gods allow that behavior. You look at it like, well, damn, this is fun. I want to do that too. So as opposed to listening to your parent, your God, you go, to the house of the little East Indians or the little white kids, because their parents let it do whatever the hell they want. That's why. Let's keep reading real quick. And bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in. What way is that? The perfect way that the Most High set before our forefathers, which is the laws, statutes, and commandments, which is not following these filthy heathens. Abraham left his family. The Chaldeans, they were worshiping all types of, weird deities. I forgot exactly. He left them. He followed the one and true, only living God. You understand? Obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so. That's what our forefathers did. This is the way that we left, which is obeying the laws. And what did we do? We decided to follow the heathens and follow their gods. We decided to do voodoo, which is African. This is a Western African religion. I mean West African religion. You understand? Santeria is the same. And people think, well, no, it belongs to us. It don't belong to us. We adopted that from the Africans. We were over there temporarily. We brought it to the islands. We were brought as slaves. That's it. We became Rastafarian. Where would we have Rastafarianism from? From the East Indians. When the indentured servants came to the Caribbean islands, we adopted Rastafarianism from them, growing nasty, filthy dreads, which are actually called jatas. Y'all look it up. Smoking weed and thinking of being on a higher, on a higher dimension or a higher level to reach God. That's East Indian dogma. Nothing that we do today outside the I.S.U.P.K comes from us. All these philosophies, right, comes from heathens. We adopted that. Whether it's try to fight white supremacy by becoming Rastafarian or Muslim or whatnot, what do? We turn quickly out of the way which our fathers walked in. That's what we do. So let's go back. Listen, Abraham was a perfect man and was blessed. How many years Abraham lived? Like 900 years, or maybe that's Noah. Regardless, the way that they walked in, obeying the commandments, had them blessed, had them protected. They did not start asking, well, I'm oppressed, I can't take it no more. No, they didn't have to do that. The Most High was always there with them. Why? Because they walked in his way, and his ways are perfect. They obeyed the commandments. Let's keep reading. Verse 18. And when the Lord raised them up judges, then the Lord was with the judge and delivered them out of the hand of their enemies all the days of the judge. Salakia. For it repented the Lord because of their groanings by reason of them that oppressed them and vexed them. You're going to see the Lord time after time, the book of Judges. Listen, good night. We got in captivity after 9 years. We were free from captivity, and then we turned right back to doing some stupidness like following other gods of fertility or water gods or whatever the case is. And then we go right back in captivity. I think that's even in the next chapter when we were enslaved by the Moabites. But time after time, there was always men raised up by the Most High to deliver us. And them, Shamgar slaughtered the Philistines. Judges chapter 2 verse 19. And it came to pass when the judge was dead that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers. There's a pattern right here. It's like every time we disobey, you know, we're in trouble. We're in captivity. We're destroyed. And how do we disobey? By looking at these oppressors like them, they're having fun. We envy them and then we follow them and then we sin. We corrupt ourselves. We walk out of the way that our fathers walked in. You understand? And corrupted themselves more than their fathers in following other gods to serve them. These other gods belong to these other nations. And to bow down unto them. Why? Because you worship them. They cease not from their own doings, nor from their stubborn way. Yeah, there's not more people more stubborn than so-called Black, Latinos, and natives. Verse 20. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. We're going to find out why he's not removing these nations. They were supposed to be set apart. Why are we surrounded by these filthy heathens? And that's exactly why. Because it doesn't matter whether or not you're around them, you're going to seek them regardless. You know how I know? Because a lot of y'all passport bros go to Asia to sleep with Filipino women. That's how I know. You don't have to be around Filipino people in the US or Canada. If there were none of them around you, you would take a flight and go sleep with a heathen. That's how I know. Judges chapter 2 verse 20. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he said, because that this people had transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice. Because you refuse to listen, time after time that I get you out of trouble, you refuse to listen, as opposed to following the example of your forefathers who listened. Verse 21, I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died. This is why you're surrounded by heathens. This is why there's a Chinatown everywhere you are. These heathens are setting up shops in your neighborhood. That's why. Because you won't listen. They don't have to be close to you for you to follow them. Again, the great perfect example is these nasty passport bros. You know, they go marry like what? Me and Officer Raka, we spoke to a brother on TikTok. This nigga moved to the Philippines. They go marry Filipino people. They go to Thailand. They go to Japan, you know, they go to Australia. They go everywhere to seek a heathen woman. And then she's got to follow after a heathen guy. I know this brother, he's from Martinique. This man moved to Algeria. He married an Algerian woman. And you want to know what? He's a Muslim. But this is not our culture. You don't have to be raised up around Ishmaelites in France to become Muslim. He went and chased the Ishmaelite woman in Algeria. He married her, and then he converted to Islam. That's why the Lord is not removing these nations from us anymore. Till Christ comes back. In Isaiah, what is it, 14? You know, Isaiah 14 will put them back in their place. Until then, the Lord is not going to remove them from around us no more. Because ain't no point. You're still going to try to chase after them because it's fun to follow, I don't know, to bow down to a rock, to worship the East Indian god and smoke weed every day. You think it's fun. Whether or not they're around you, it's really irrelevant because you're going to chase after them. And then you're going to realize maybe I should not have done so because now I'm in trouble. I'm a drug addict because I smoke too much weed trying to be like an East Indian. The Most High will make sure that you get cured. And 10 minutes later, you're going to follow another heathen, another fertility god. Now you're a drunk or a whore or a homosexual, and then you catch the monkeypox. Who knows? The Most High will get you out of your trouble, and you're gonna go right back to following on. No, the ancient Egyptians and worship a pigeon. The Most High got tired of it. He said, you know what? I'm not gonna remove any of these heathens away. Before that time, like example in Deuteronomy chapter 7, the heathens were removed. You know, what is it? The Hittites, the Hivites, all these heathens were removed from before us. But ever since the time of Judges, it's like, yeah, we need to learn it the hard way, you know, because whether or not they're around us, you're going to chase them regardless. So it's irrelevant. Now you're going to have to prove yourself. Judges chapter 2, verse 22, that through them I may prove Israel whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein, as their fathers did keep it or not. And that's why these nations are around us. You know, listen, you could be in the blackest town in America, and y'all will find you will all do white people shit. You will all you could be in the blackest town in America, and you will find a way to follow after white people. So whether they're around you or not, it's irrelevant. You have to show the Most High that regardless of what type of influence is around me, I will walk in your way that you set before my forefathers. You understand? And this is proof again. Envying our oppressor leads to our destruction. That was it. So we have to do what? Just like the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom said. They had to separate themselves and leave the multitude of the heathen. Go far, far, far away. Why? So that they may keep their statutes that they were never able to keep in their own land. With that, I'm going to end the class right here. I'm Priest and Officer 500 Barak Yala with the ISUPK, which stands for the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. It's on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General YAHANNA. You understand? It is time for you to separate from these heathens. Separate spiritually, meaning stop following after them. Don't even look at what they're doing. Don't even envy them. If you want to look at them with disdain, because they do weird stuff. It's not even, people say you're going to try to preach in a hateful manner. That has nothing to do with it. You know, us loving what they do is the reason we want to do what they do. Let's look at it with, you know, just like we were conditioned to love the blonde hair, now women wear blonde wigs. Let's recondition us to not want to do what these heathens do. Now, why would you eat snail? Why would you eat a bat? Damn. Why would you want to build a gym? Look up the origins of the gym. You know, with that, I'm going to get a security announcements. Next week, we'll have the class, the Brotherhood class in French, same topic. Tomorrow, we will resume the Lashaw and Kodash classes. We'll do that in English, right? Like, share, subscribe, comment, ask questions. Scan the QR code at the top right of the screen. And with that, I'm going to get a security announcement, and we'll see you next week's Shalom, Israel. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means 10th in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming Holy Convocation, as previously mentioned, we have the Feast of the Dedication, which is Hanukkah in the Hebrew, which is the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days, which falls on Sunday, December 14th, 2025 for 8 days. You can read more about it in the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 52 to 61. Reminder to all Akim and Aquatian to check the bulletin board in the hallway of their school, the physical location, and if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. With that, we'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Menavijal Imajim, which means to stand. We'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Menavijal Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Brakatam, meaning Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai bless y'all. Right? Yajamata means hands down. Sar, which means to turn. Turn if it's the sisters, we'll give them a courtesy salute as well. Menavijal Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar, Alathan Bahasham Yahweh Shai, meaning Yahweh, watch over y'all in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yajamata, class dismissed.
Yeah. One West. Some people live the good life, them and them stay on mummy pot dry. But they tell me I gotta die for happy, for have it. Millions, house and cars and bike. I got the pussy them don't want see we have a 1,000 tall up rifle. I got them want to see na fi we on. You know give we food fi we yam. And when the youth use brilliance, fuck up the road like Gideon. You start call man pillion. The bad boy, true me said don't rush me a bad fly. And true me no got church, me no baptize. Don't tell me no heaven in a that sky when some people live the good life, them and them stay on mummy pot dry. But they tell me I gotta die for happy, no joy for the black boy. They get to you, them a fuck up the road and tough up the code dust, no go below. See double 9 man a shuffle the board, and if you no know then you no fi know. Matic in a waist we no go lucky mode. This one West boy get up your load. Who no know when me no shoes and me no food and no clothes. We no do the posing, we no explode. Just a wait for the right time for we explode. Hustle man a hustle charge you we make do, and we can't wait for the next show. Some people live the good life, them and them stay on mummy pot dry. Come and tell me I gotta die for happy, no joy for the black boy. Millions, house and cars and bike. I got the pussy them don't want see we have a 1,000 tall up rifle. I got them want to see na fi we on. You know give we food fi we yam. And when the youth get original, fuck up the road like Gideon. You start call man criminal, and killer them a search for them heaven on earth. Man a fi a fight with the devil from birth. Poverty a time for your Lego man shirt. Your man a fi stay blessed all when the land curse. All when the land curse. I know the GLE, them want see we in a one earth. The bad boy, true me said don't rush me a bad fly. And true me no got church, me no baptize. Don't tell me no heaven in a that sky when some people live the good life, them and them stay on mummy pot dry. But they tell me I gotta die for happy, no joy for the black boy.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West.